Hey procrastinators! Today I have an unboxing and some inspiration for you for the Create and Inkspire November card kit. And I am a little late getting this out, but we're still going to do it. So you get some glossy accents, a snow marker from Marvy. You get some pattern paper here, 6x6 size. There's a candy cane stripe, some plaid, some blue snowflakes. This is some very, very light gray snowflakes with some stripes and some gold ornaments. And then you also get some vellum stickers here by Sticko, a 6x8 stamp set. It's got some trees, Santa's workshop, a snowman, a North Pole, some sentiments, and some snowflakes. Then we get some glitter and pearlescent cardstock. There's the pearlescent, another glitter, and then a pearlescent. So you get some red and green pearlescent. Oh, and then there's a white pearlescent as well and a white glitter. All right, so there are the contents of the kit. One last time. And of course, don't forget the sweet treat. And then we have an add-on paper pack, 6x6. So this is purchased separately. So you get some more of that pattern paper with some matching glitter cardstock to go with it. So I'm just going to show you those real quick. And that is it. And I did forget to mention the larger pieces of glitter and pearlescent cardstock. Those are 8.5 by 11.5 by 8, 8 by 11.5. There we go. So not 8.5 by 11, they are 8 by 11.5 inches. All right, so we're gonna start by stamping and embossing the present image on some plaid, some of the plaid paper that was included in the kit, and also some of the candy stripe paper that was in the kit, but I'm not going to show that part on screen. I'm not even going to show all the stamping of this one on screen because I'm doing it in Versamark. You can't see it anyway. So I can barely see it when I do this. So I'm just going to show you that I'm just going to shift the paper over here and then I'm going to stamp it again. I did stamp it a total of 4 times on each of the pattern papers, but I'm just going to show it here real quick. And then I'm going to gold heat emboss it with some Hero Arts gold embossing powder. So there you can see that it is done 4 times. So here's the candy stripe one that is already embossed. And I'm taking a Versamark pen. It's just got the Versamark ink in pen form. And I'm just going to fill in those ribbons and the little gift tag that's on the images. And we're going to gold heat emboss that with the same Hero Arts gold embossing powder. And then I will heat set that off screen. And then I'm going to stamp my sentiment from the kit. And gold heat emboss that as well. And this one says, I believe, may you be spoiled this Christmas. I cannot remember. Yes, that is what it says. Yay. And then this is some of that gold glitter cardstock from the add-on kit. Then I'm just going to mount that on there. All right, and then I took and fussy cut all those little presents out right along the gold embossed line, and then I'm just going to take some of the little foam squares and some of my foam tape, just a little combination of both. And the foam squares were from the last kit, I believe, the scrapbook.com foam squares, and we're just going to mount these in a like triangular shaped pile. And I messed around with these so much trying to get them lined up that we're not going to show all that either because it was kind of tedious. But there you go. Through the magic of editing, there is my pile. That red glitter cardstock is also from that add-on kit as well. And the ornament paper you can get in the add-on kit, but there's also one sheet included in the kit. So it can be either or. So I'm just going to stack that up, mat that, glue everything all together. I had a heck of a time lining things up with this card. This card was just not cooperating with me as far as getting things lined up right. You ever have those days where just things just don't line up right? That was this card. So we're just going to get that glued together here in a second. And then I'm going to attach it to that ornament paper, get my sentiment on there. We're going to glue everything all together. eventually. This card was a struggle, I'll tell you what. Actually, that whole week of videos was a struggle for me, but we got it done. Um, Late, but we got it done. All right, so just going to glue this onto my Nina 110 pound classic crest solar white card base. And then, of course, I forgot to stamp the inside of this one. I wanted to stamp the inside because nowhere on this card does it say Merry Christmas. So I will be moving to the inside and stamping Merry Christmas as soon as I pop this little piece up on some foam tape. And I didn't cut that part out. I usually cut this part out because it's tedious to get the backing of the foam tape off of this, and I did not do that. Sorry, guys. So we're going to attach this with some foam tape, and then we'll move on to stamping the inside, which I had to do with an acrylic block, and I despise acrylic blocks, but luckily I did it without having to restamp. All right, and I totally hit my camera there. Good job. All right, so I'm going to use some VersaFine Clair in Nocturne, and we're going to stamp Merry Christmas, and then I will stamp the present on the inside as well, just to have a little decoration. I have gotten out of the habit of doing the insides of my cards lately, and I really need to get back into the habit of doing that. So there we go. Even though I think this is the only one I did in this video. I went back and did them the other day, though. So sorry about that. All right, so there's the finished card, and then we're going to move on to card number 2, and this is the hands down the easiest card probably I've ever done. So I'm going to take some of these pierced circle dies from Spellbinders, and I'm going to line them up here on the snowflake paper, which again you get one piece in the kit, and you can buy the add-on kit and get more. So I'm just going to line this up and run it through my die cutter. I did 2 of these circles, and then I did 2 plain white ones out of the Nina 80-pound cardstock that I have in my stash. And I'm going to stamp Merry Christmas from our family to yours on this one. It's going to go on the outside in Versamark. And then we're going to silver heat emboss this with my personal stamp exchange old school embossing powder. And I will heat set that off screen. And then I've got a piece, and you can't really see it very well, but I've got a piece of Craft Perfect heavyweight construction acetate here. It is a very, very heavyweight acetate. I'm going to use that for my card base. And I'm going to take the vellum snowflake stickers that were included in the kit, and I'm just going to stick them all over the front of this acetate that I'm using for my card base. And I started by sticking some off the side of the card base. That way my card base wouldn't move around on me because, acetate is slippery. Plus, it looks better if you kind of have some hanging off and some on and that kind of stuff. But mostly is because I didn't want it slipping around on me because acetate is slippery. So I'm just going to put all of the stickers on the front of this card base because that's how I roll. So the whole thing is going to be filled up with the snowflakes. But I thought this turned out really pretty, even though, I guess you can kind of see the acetate card base now, but in the beginning it was really hard to see. I'm just going to cut the excess of the snowflakes off here with my scissors. And then we will mount all those circles that I cut out. And you will see why I needed all those circles here in a minute. All right, so pick up my little sticky bits here. And these stickers were a lot stickier than I imagined them being. All right, so I'm going to put some score tape on the back of the one that I stamped Merry Christmas on. And mount that in the center of my acetate card base. And I used score tape because I just feel like score tape adheres better than liquid glue. So you could definitely use a liquid glue if you have one that works well. But I just feel like it works better and it adheres immediately. And then I put a white circle on the back of that to hide the adhesive. And then I'm taking another one of these snowflake circles and I'm putting it with the sticky side facing up towards me and lining it up with the back of the circles that I just adhered. And then I'm going to close my card base and that will adhere to the lower half of my card, which will be the inside of my card when you open it up. And I did make sure that my snowflakes and my lines were the way that I wanted them to. I wanted the lines to be horizontal. And then I attached another white circle to the back of the card to cover up the adhesive that would be showing on the back of the card. And you can also stamp your handmade by or whatever stamp if you have one of those on the back. And there is the finished second card. So moving on to the third card, this one was a little bit more labor intensive, but I did cut out well, I didn't. I was going to say I cut out the coloring, but I didn't really have a choice on this one. My camera or computer or both, combination of the two, ate the coloring on this one, so I didn't really have a choice. So there will be no coloring on this one, but I did color the images, and you can find the coloring combinations over on my blog, which will be linked in the description box below. So I started off with some scrapbook.com square layering dies, and I just traced the inside of that onto my Neenah 80-pound card panel here. And then I took the North Pole stamp from the stamp set, from the kit, and I'm just going to stamp it on the inside of this square. I just basically used that square to know where to put my little scene, where I had room for the scene. I'm going to stamp that, and then I'm going to stamp the snowman, and then I will mask off both of them. So we're just going to stamp the snowman here, and I am using Gina K Amalgam ink because it is Copic safe, and that is my ink of choice for Copic coloring. So we're just going to get that snowman stamped out here real quick, and then I'm going to mask off both the North Pole and the snowman. And I just use Avery removable label sheets for this kind of masking. If I'm not going to use anything that's real wet, these little Avery removable ID label sheets work just fine for that, and it's fairly inexpensive. So I'm just going to mask off both of these images, and then I'm going to bring out the tree stamps from the stamp set, and we're going to stamp some trees in the background. So remember, when you are making a scene and you are going to have to mask some things, you want to stamp out the images that are going to be in the front first and mask them, and then you'll stamp out the images that will be in the back. So that is what I've done here. My snowman and my North Pole are in the front, and then my trees will be in the back. So I'm just going to stamp out the trees, and then I'm going to mask those. And I am masking all the images because I will be doing some ink blending in the background when I'm done here. And I do clean off the tree stamps in between each stamping because I am messy, and I often don't know exactly where I'm going to line up the stamp until I figure it out, I guess. So I've been known to smear ink all over my background, all over my card base and whatnot. So I do clean off my stamp and dry it before I take it to the paper again. So I decided to use the little single tree here as my last stamping, and we'll just get that stamped off and then mask it as well. So that is it for the stamping here, and we are going to come in with some Distress ink and tumbled glass. And I'm just going to go around all the edges, and I did make a mistake here. I got all excited about finishing the card, I guess, and I did not erase my pencil lines. And once you ink blend or Copic color or anything over pencil lines, they're pretty much impossible to erase. So I did try erasing them after I realized my mistake here. You won't see it on camera, but I did try to erase them after I ink blended, and they lightened up a little bit, but you can't erase them. So be sure to erase your pencil lines before you ink blend. Do as I say, don't do as I do. All right, so I'm taking that same scrapbook.com die that I used to trace earlier, and I'm going to cut it out of this snowflake paper that I've already cut down to be the same size as an A2 card base. And that is going to frame my little scene. And I'm going to take the my foam tape from my stash, And I'm just going to line the back of the entire panel. And then I went to put it on my panel, and I realized that I wanted to use the Marvy snow marker that was included in the kit here. And I forgot to color the snowman's carrot nose, but that wouldn't have been a big deal. But anyway, I wanted to use the snow marker before I put that down. So I just set that panel off to the side, and now I'm going to apply the snow marker to the ground, on top of the North Pole sign, on top of the little ball on top of the North Pole, and to the little puff ball on the snowman's hat, just to give that some texture. So I do recommend that if you're going to use this particular snow marker to, unless you want a lot on your card, like for the ground, that you push the marker nib down off your project because as you can see, I got a big old blob there. If I were to do that on the snowman's little puff ball or whatever, I would have ended up with a huge blob on my project, and that wouldn't have been good. So I suggest that you do that on your glass mat or whatever work surface you have. So I did want to show you the little up close view of that heating up, just so you can see how the marker puffs up. So I'm going to heat emboss Merry Christmas on the front of this with the same silver heat embossing powder that I used in a previous, the first card, if I could talk here. And because I had already removed the release paper, I used my Tonic Easy Clean Matte, which is kind of like like a silicone non-stick surface. I don't know that it's really silicone, but it is a non-stick surface anyway. So that's what I stuck my little panel to here, so that I could heat emboss my sentiment. And I flipped my door around to the rubber stamp side because I already had foam tape on the back of it. So that's how I did that, because I had already gotten ahead of myself earlier. And my foam tape came off easily off that Easy Clean Matte surface. All right, so now I've put my panel on my panel. And now we're going to, I just had a little excess hanging off the top there. I'm just going to trim that away, and then we're going to put my card panel onto my card base. I'm just going to glue that down with some Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. And we're just going to line that straight up because they are the same exact size. And then I'm going to pull out some of those Trinity gems that were included in the Create and Inkspire July kit because they are beautiful. Oh, I lie. I'm actually going to use my Nuvo Aqua Shimmer pen in glitter gloss first and cover the snowman and the little bits of snow that I put down with the Marvy snow marker. Then I believe I'm going to pull out the Trinity gems and put a few of those in the centers of the snowflakes in this in the pattern paper. Now, I don't know. I kind of regret doing this because so there's two full snowflakes on either side of the Merry Christmas, which I really liked. It was like symmetrical, right? So I did one on each of those, and then I started to go up the side of my card panel here on the left side and put those in the middle of the snowflakes there, even though it's really not like centered. And I go, okay, that's good. Now I'm going to put some on the other side. Well, the other snowflakes didn't have middles of the snowflakes because it was cut out where I die cut. I'm like, it's not symmetrical. My card is like not even now, and I don't know, I kind of regretted it, but I didn't want to pull them off and like make a mess of my card. So it is what it is. I kind of regret it, but I don't know. It looks okay, I guess. All right, so the fourth and final card, I just decided to do like a little winter scene. And then I included the North Pole because it kind of had to have something that related to Christmas besides just being trees, right? So I started off by stamping the North Pole. And then we are going to mask that off. And then we are going to stamp a bunch of trees. And I'm not going to show all the stamping of the trees because, well, you just watch me stamp a bunch of trees with the last card. Basically, it's the same stamping and masking and stamping and masking of the same trees that I used in the last card. So we don't really need to see all that. So I stamped and masked this tree, and then I just kept going across the card the same way I did in the last one, except there's obviously more trees than this one because it's a whole card panel. So we're just going to stamp and mask and stamp and mask, and I'm just going to cut it off here in a minute, and then all the trees are going to be stamped and masked There we go. Look at that, magic of editing. Isn't that fun? All right, so now we're going to move on to some ink blending. I'm going to start off with tumbled glass towards the bottom. Even though a lot of this is going to actually be covered up with the Marvy Snow Marker, I went way crazy with the Marvy Snow Marker on this one. And then we will move on to Mermaid Lagoon and get some down in the middle there. And then I believe the next color is Salty Ocean. I don't remember. Yep, Salty Ocean. And then I think I decided that the Mermaid Lagoon and the Salty Ocean were pretty close in color, so I'm going to bring in Blueprint Sketch, I believe, for the top to make it just a little bit darker. But I guess we'll see what it says here. Yep, Blueprint Sketch. So I decided to do that. Sometimes I do that. I forget that the Mermaid Lagoon and Salty Ocean are pretty close to each other, really. There's a couple of those blues that can be kind of close. All right, so then I decided to pull out the 3 snowflakes and the Merry Christmas stamp, and we're going to stamp these in Versamark and silver heat emboss them with that same Personal Stamp Exchange embossing powder. I've had that embossing powder forever, and I know that the Personal Stamp Exchange has been out of business forever. But it still works great, so I really see no point in replacing it. All right, so just get that embossing powder on there, and then I will heat set off screen like I normally do. So I didn't include the coloring, obviously, as you can see. I did have the coloring on this one, but excuse me, guys. But the coloring was so similar on this one to my coloring for the card that went live on Monday for the 25 Days of Christmas Collabs with Courtney Krieber that I just decided to cut the coloring out because this video was so long as it was. So if you are interested in the coloring of these trees and that North Pole, you can see that over on that video, and I will link that in the description box below. All right, so I'm just going to assemble the card here real quick. That green glitter cardstock is one of those 8 by 11.5 inch papers that were included in the kit. And then I'm just going to finish off with a Nuvo Aqua Shimmer pen. So the Create an Inkspire card kit is still available over on the Create an Inkspire website. I will have that linked in the description box below. Members do get a 10% discount, so don't forget to log in if you are a member. I hope that you enjoyed the cards today, and if you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And as always, have a great day.